You support imperialism.
So
you support just invading other countries.
So you go back,
criminal,
criminal. Well, how the hell do you think America got so big? What do you think they did? It was an expansionist James Polk ideology of let's go out there and buy all these other places.
Was there international law, the UN Charter, the Geneva Conventions at the time?
But you're sitting here complaining about something like this where you're living in a country, it's because of the byproduct of the visionaries previous to us that they made it what it is today. Why do you feel so safe here?
Bizarre argument.
Why do you feel so safe
Because we once got Alaska, we should go conquer Cuba.
No, that's not what I'm telling you.
Sounds like it.
If they're expanding, I don't mind an expansionist president.
You like imperialism. So how are you different to the IRGC?
I don't mind an expansionist.
How are you different to the IRGC? Everyone says, everyone says
Islamic Revolutionary Guard. Everything is above what God tells them what to do, and death upon America.
They're accused of being expansionist, of trying to take over the Middle East. That's the big allegation that the Gulf states make against Iran. And yet you're sitting here saying, "But we should take over the Western Hemisphere."
By the way, do you know what I would actually say?
I'm not imperialist.
Let me ask you a question. You got how many subscribers do you have with your channel right now that are paying you?
On Substack?
On Substack.
I'm not going to say that number.
Let's say it's 100,000 people.
Okay.
There you go.
It's not, sadly.
Okay, but let's just say you have 50 to 100,000 people. You're doing well. You're making good money. Yeah. Okay. Have you taken any viewership from anybody else?
What do you mean?
Are people watching you that used to watch somebody else on YouTube? What an expansionist you are. What a shameful expansionist capitalist.
I've been with you for 1 hour, 20 minutes.
This guy's expanding his YouTube channel, but God forbid anybody else does it.
I've waited an hour, 20 minutes for you to say the dumbest thing with respect, Patrick. That is not an analogy.
Every time you say the dumbest things is when you get cornered. What do you mean you're expanding?
That is the worst analogy.
You're expanding.
Did I go into the New York Times? Hold on. Let's take your analogy. Did I walk into the New York Times and abduct the editor-in-chief of the New York Times, put a bag over his head,
do you have any
and
employees?
Take him out in order to undermine the New York Times?
Do you have any employees?
Yes.
How many of them came volunteer? How many of them did you recruit and hire away from another company?
How many of them did I get with a gun and a special forces team? You're making a ridiculous analogy.
Oh my
you
goodness.
Expand as a business. That's the same as illegally occupying other people's land.
What la-la land are you living in? Like, what do you think happened to this world?
World of law.
What do you think happened to this world?
You do realize the problem that the MAGA folks have when they say this is you lose any credibility to criticize anyone else. You can't criticize Iran then. You can't criticize Hamas.
And I don't.
You don't criticize Hamas?
No, I don't criticize. If you're able to expand.
So if Hamas goes into Israel, you're for that?
It's not about if I'm for that or not. If you're able to successfully do it, that's your vision. I know I have to defend against it. What do you think companies do? How do you think companies work? What do you think companies are supposed to do?
I think it's insane that you're comparing business expansion to us going around the world killing people.
Mehdi, why do you think we have military?
To
for what?
Ourselves.
Against what?
Threats.
Against another
you
one
want to
trying
be
expand.
The threat.
I'm not saying that.
You think Cuba's trying to expand right now?
What's up, everybody? Jackson here. And this Mehdi Hasan and Patrick Bet David debate covers an enormous amount of ground, starting with a genuinely sharp exchange about American imperialism and expansionism, using a business growth analogy that gets picked apart pretty effectively before moving into a detailed conversation about Trump, Netanyahu, and where the Gaza war actually stands right now. There's a real philosophical core here worth pulling out. Is might makes right ever a coherent standard for international relations? And does citing historical precedent justify future action? I want to break down where the analogies held up and where they didn't, plus check some of the specific polling figures cited near the end. Stick with me, get that like in, get subscribed, because we take the full debate seriously here. Now let's get into it.
You
think Cuba's trying to expand? Where are they expanding to? Miami?
No.
You've been living in Miami too long.
By the way,
I think you've been drinking too much Miami water too long.
I actually rarely go to Miami. Maybe that's their fault. Maybe that's their fault.
What's their fault?
Maybe their ideology, communism, created a poor country and their people want something better.
But that doesn't give us the right to go and take over the country.
How do you think all this stuff happened in history?
Okay, lots of things happen in history that weren't right.
Yeah, but guess what?
This is 2026.
Dude, you understand you've taken market share from other people. Your viewers were somebody else's viewers that came to you.
So you support,
kudos to you.
So you want just to be clear, you want some kind of law of the jungle where might is right, power.
What do you think the law is?
You're fine with
what do you think the law is?
I notice you don't answer any question.
No.
It's a very simple question. Yes or no? Do you support a law of the jungle where might is right?
Do you believe
Is that
in
what you support?
non-competes?
You can't answer a question with a question. You have to answer the question. Do you support a might is right view where law of the jungle, whoever's powerful gets to do what they want?
I'm trying to find. No. I answered it for you. I'm trying to find out what other law of the land you think we live in. Help me understand.
We have domestic law. We have international law. We have criminal law.
What is the what?
I don't know where you're living.
What do you use?
You've been in Florida far too long.
Do you use ChatGPT or do you use Claude? Which do you use more?
Probably ChatGPT more.
ChatGPT more than Claude? Okay. Do you know when it first started who had the biggest market share?
ChatGPT.
Oh, who do you think's killing it right now?
Claude.
Claude's picking it up. Why?
Because they invaded another country, kidnapped the president.
Because they produced a better product.
And hold on.
Why?
Did Amade? What's the guy's name? Dario Amade. What's his name? The guy who runs Claude. Did he go into Sam Altman's house in the middle of the night, take Sam Altman and his wife, put bags on their heads, and fly them back to his compound and kill a grandmother in the process?
The only difference is that, but war is nasty.
That is the big difference, Patrick. I can't believe you don't see it.
No. I understand what you're saying and the argument of that, but the reality of it is, which is what?
A law of the jungle where the might is right. Do you support a world? Do you like living in a world? Are you pro? Do you support the idea of living in a world where powerful countries should be able to do what they want?
Can I ask you a question? What country?
You keep answering the question with a question.
Why do you live in America? Why do you live in America? The most
powerful
country
the law.
in the world.
You know what I like about the US?
It's the most powerful.
No.
Go live in Iran.
No.
Go live in Iraq.
I don't live here because it's the most powerful country.
Why do you live here?
Because many reasons.
Give me.
One is it's a country that's governed by laws, principles, free speech.
Yes.
I love the First Amendment, the Constitution.
Yeah.
I don't favor presidents and people who say we should just break the law because we
I didn't say break the law.
What do you mean? Taking over Cuba is breaking the law. UN Charter, that's the law of the land.
If they come and they try to take over.
Who's coming?
Whoever it is. Trump's already talking about it. Rubio's already talking about it.
The Cubans are not taking over anything.
No, Cubans are not taking over anything.
We are launching a war of aggression, like the Nazis. Nuremberg called it. You know what the Nuremberg Tribunal called a war of aggression?
I'm assuming
the supreme international war
crime. Is
it
fair to say you were against tariffs on day one?
Yes.
I was for tariffs. Guess what Supreme Court ruled?
Against tariffs.
Okay, great. Yeah. Guess what? You just.
Okay.
That's what happened. If they go.
You want to live in a world where Trump says, F the Supreme Court, and that's what J.D. Vance has said on the record.
Not at all.
J.D. Vance has said this on the record. But you just said you want to
I'm not.
people
but let me
get to do what they want.
Look, let me tell you.
You said it. Everyone
today,
can watch it.
Trump's the president, okay? A few years ago, Biden was the president. In 2028, AOC could be the president. Newsom could be the president. Rubio could be the president. Somebody else could be the president, right? Every time the opposing side is the president, the opposing side thinks it's the end of the world. What ends up happening to America? What ends up happening?
Bad things.
No, not necessarily. Eventually goes back to normalcy. And it's like, I'm going to go there.
I look at the Trump first term and I see 500,000 people killed from COVID because he couldn't handle a pandemic.
But do you know why, though? What protects America the way it does?
I would argue our laws, constitution, principles, history.
I like Supreme.
And you're saying I want to throw it all out.
No, but
to have an imperialist nation.
If a leader comes in that is a visionary leader that wants to expand and grow, and he can do it within his terms, and Supreme Court and law allows it, I don't mind him doing that.
First of all, the Supreme Court law doesn't allow it. Venezuela was unconstitutional. Congress declares war in this country.
Yeah, then if that's the case,
the president.
Well, we saw that with the 60-day rule with Iran.
He's violated that.
I understand that. And they're working around that right now in different ways.
American law. What about international law? Even if the American Congress votes to attack Cuba, that doesn't make it legal in international law. You can't attack other countries.
Mehdi, let me ask you. If, for instance,
tomorrow you'll say 9/11 was just. Do you support 9/11? Do you support 9/11?
No.
Why? Al-Qaeda could do it. They did it. According to your logic, Al-Qaeda had every right to do it.
There's a difference between me supporting it and then them doing it and then me retaliating to you. Like right now, if you and I were sitting.
But you don't think it was illegal?
Do I? Of course it's illegal.
Why? According to you, it doesn't matter.
No, of course it's illegal.
Also, 9/11's illegal, but us attacking Cuba is legal.
I didn't tell you. You never heard me say attacking. If they can go and take it over without attacking and the laws allow it, guess what? I'm for it.
That's a whole different argument.
It's not a whole different.
If the Cuban people vote in a referendum to become the 51st state.
Don't spin right now and make it seem like I want to go kill people and take stuff over.
You defended Venezuela. We killed people to get him out.
I never said but by the way.
You said give him credit for Venezuela. You did say that.
You don't think that was a good move?
No.
You don't think that was a good move?
I don't believe you should. I don't support regime change. I don't support assassinating foreign leaders. What did George Washington say? Don't go abroad looking for monsters to slay. Or was it Adams? I forget. Founder.
So you don't support what he did.
I do not support the United States government.
Well, I thought that was a massive
foreign countries,
especially the way they did it,
and killing foreign leaders. Even if it has a good outcome, I don't support it because I support laws and principles. So
optics, purely
Trump, you know the MAGA base better than me. Many of them are your viewers. Many people in the MAGA base, not as many as people suggest. My good friend Cenk Uygur, I know you had on the show, he thinks there's a big split in MAGA. I'm less of that view. I look at the polls, 80% of MAGA still loves Trump, 70% love this war. But there is a growing minority who don't like what's going on with the foreign wars, with the betrayal of anti-war promises. And a lot of them see Donald Trump as being, I can't come up with a better phrase than Netanyahu's bitch. And this would help Donald Trump say, look, I'm telling Benjamin Netanyahu, fuck you, you're fucking crazy, I saved you from prison. I'm the dominant partner in this relationship. And by the way, this is not just a Trump issue. Every American president who's dealt with Netanyahu has come out getting screwed over. Joe Biden got completely screwed over. He gave his entire presidency to save Netanyahu. Look at him today, destroyed. Bill Clinton in the 90s came out of a conversation with Netanyahu. You know what he said to his team? He said, who's the fucking superpower here? He was so pissed that he got talked down to by Benjamin Netanyahu. So American presidents have been dealing with Bibi for many years, and they've always tried to assert their dominance, and many of them have failed to do so. So I think for Donald Trump, it's good if people believe it. The problem is, those of us who know the Axios reporting on this, we're very, very skeptical.
So let me ask you this. If you're Trump's advisor, which you're not, but let's just say if you were Trump's advisor, and Trump hears you, and he says, screw this guy, that call did happen, that's exactly what I told him. What does he need to do publicly for even a guy like you to say, shit, this happened?
That's a great question, because Donald Trump's word means nothing to me. I've been documenting his lies for many years. No one's told more lies than Donald Trump in the public sphere. So actions matter more than words. Same issue with Biden. His people would leak, Biden's very upset with Netanyahu. Okay, but what the fuck are you doing about it? Right? Many of us frustrated with the genocide would say. Same question now. What are you going to do about it? Donald Trump has given Netanyahu everything he wanted, right? Even if this conversation is true, he's saying, I saved you from prison, in the sense that he demanded the Israeli president.
Did he? Don't you think he did, though?
In many ways he did, because every time this war continues, Netanyahu avoids trial, right? Every time there's escalation in the war, he doesn't have to go back to court.
That's right.
And Trump has publicly called on Herzog, the president, to pardon him, which he hasn't done yet, but I'm sure he's feeling the pressure from Trump publicly calling him out. So he has helped Netanyahu. But worse than that, you look at what's happening in Gaza, he's given Netanyahu everything he wanted. And this really bothers me, because in 2024, I spend a lot of time pointing out to people on my side, leftists, Muslims, Arab Americans, people in Dearborn, Michigan, who welcome Trump. And I said to them, you're going to get screwed over by this guy. No, 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 no. He's more anti-war than Kamala and Joe. This is what I was told by Arab Americans who voted for Trump. He will be the anti-war president. Stephen Miller said he won't send our boys to die. Trump said, remember what he said? He goes, Liz Cheney will go to war with Kamala and kill Muslims. I won't. They all believed that shit. Then he bombed, 6 countries last year, 7 countries last year. Now he's in a war with Iran. In Gaza, he had this ceasefire at the beginning that people were very happy about. But since then, he's allowed Netanyahu to do whatever he wants. And earlier this week, Netanyahu went on camera and he said, we now control 60% of Gaza and I'm going to take 70% of Gaza. Even Biden, Harris, Blinken, none of them said that would be possible. Trump has basically given Netanyahu carte blanche to do whatever he wants in the Gaza Strip. So when your answer to your question is, what does he have to do to prove he's holding?
A guy like you.
He has to hold.
It's impossible to win a guy like you.
I will give credit. I'll say it now. On
if
camera.
What?
If he manages to get Netanyahu out of Lebanon and out of Gaza, which he won't. But that's what I would want to see. Because that's what's happened on his watch. On his watch, Netanyahu's taken more territory in both those places.
Right.
Prove to me that you actually care about Middle East peace. Prove to me that you have control over Netanyahu and American weapons, and get him to pull out. Because right now, Greater Israel is happening in front of our eyes. Netanyahu's doing the project that far-right Israelis have always wanted. He's taking Lebanon, southern Lebanon.
You're saying Egypt,
he's taking
Turkey,
Gaza.
all this stuff.
Who knows what's coming
next?
next?
What you're thinking?
Well, if you embolden the guy, what is the lesson of the last 3 years? There's impunity. You can do whatever the F you want, and America will never stop you.
Okay, do me a favor. Differentiate between what Bibi's vision is and what Israel's vision is.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so for instance, you could have there's a difference between what America's vision is.
Yes.
Be the greatest country in the world versus what AOC's vision would be if she became president versus Trump, right? So what do you think is Bibi's vision versus Israel's vision?
That's a great question. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad tidings. We do this thing in the US, especially on the liberal side, where we say, look, we're against the Netanyahu government. We're not against Israel or the Israeli people. The problem is the Israeli people have made it very clear over the last 3 years that they're totally behind all these wars. There's been no real anti-war movement. In Israel, there's no real...
There's a little bit. It's not a big number.
It's tiny. It's tiny. You look at the polling, 80% of Israelis support...
20% is what I was going to say.
Every military operation blindly. You look at the polling, some of it's horrific. Like 80% of Israelis support removing Palestinians from Israel. From Gaza, and another small majority support ethnically cleansing them from Israel itself, Palestinian citizens of Israel. Israeli society...
What percentage was this one?
So I think it's 80% say they're fine with getting them out of Gaza, like forcibly.
Right.
And there's another majority or big plurality of Israelis Israeli Jews who say even Palestinians in Israel should ultimately emigrate.
West Bank and some of that.
No, Israel proper, within the Green Line.
Got it. Okay.
1/5 of the population of Israel is Palestinian citizens of Israel. So the polling is horrific. There was a poll done last year by Penn State, I think it was, where almost half of Israelis said that when we capture a town in Gaza, we should treat it like the Bible and Jericho. We should kill all the inhabitants, all the men. Like this kind of crazy. So, okay, all these polls, you take them with a pinch of salt. I get it. But anyone you speak to in Israel who's a serious commentator on Israeli politics will tell you that over the last 5-10 years, Israeli society has moved to the right, to the far right, in a way that American society has not.
Do you think the Gulf states prefer Iran to be led by IRGC, or the story we saw recently with Pezeshkian, who's a moderate, stepping down because he's like everything's being run by. Who do you think the Gulf states would rather have?
I think the Gulf states are not a monolith, first of all, Patrick, because the UAE is very different to Qatar and Kuwait, right?
But they're neighbors.
They're neighbors, but they have different foreign policy.
I understand.
The UAE is an outlier. The UAE is very hawkish, very pro-Israel, very pro-America, very anti-Iran. Which is kind of crazy because, if the US and Israel move on with their lives, the UAE is exposed to Iran for the rest of their lives.
Isn't UAE succeeding the most out of most of the Gulf states?
Are they?
Financially?
Are they? So many businesses have cleared out. Tourism has fallen. It's a huge industry based on tourism.
For the time.
You think people are going to go back? I think my thing is...
I think so.
I think that their image has been permanently destroyed. I don't think you could put it back in the bottle. They had this image, especially to kind of white Westerners, as this business, tourist, even residential utopia. You go there, there's no crime, you chill out, everything's cheaper, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's gone now. Once Iran has done this, I think they've destroyed that image. Now, if you're Amazon or you're whatever it is, Chase Bank, you're going to go back into Dubai, Abu Dhabi, knowing that Iran can then do this again at any time they want. As long as Iran is still run by the same government, I don't think these Gulf states get that image back. And I think the Qataris understand that, even the Saudis understand that. They want a region, I think privately, and I may be wrong, and the few people in the Gulf I speak to say this to me, they recognize that Israel is the real problem in the region. They may not say so publicly. Some of them have signed up to the Abraham Accords like Bahrain, etc., UAE, but I think they understand that Israel is the destabilizing force in the region. It's Israel that bombed 6 countries in the Middle East last year. It wasn't Iran that did that. It's Israel that went to war now and brought the United States into this conflict and led to Iran bombing Kuwait and Qatar and Saudi Arabia and the UAE. And I think that is the situation we're in. I think you're going to see these Gulf states, if they're smart, making overtures to the Chinese and to the Russians in future years. They have to kind of diversify who they rely on.
Maybe it's me being a Syrian, maybe it's me being Armenian, maybe the fact that I lived in Iran could be the reason for this. But nobody, sells Israel as this incredibly powerful organization and brains than those who hate Israel. All they talk about is how powerful Israel is. I don't think there's anybody that's the Don King promoting how smart, intellectual, brilliant Israel is than those who cannot stand Israel.
Well, I'm not one of those.
But if
let me just go through the list. I'm not somebody who said Iran would roll over. I said Iran would make Iraq look like a walk in the park.
I'm talking about
right. I warned that Iran and America would not be able to destroy Iran in the way they thought they could destroy Iran. It was insane. It was hubris to think they could do that. I've been saying that for 15 years. I've been saying it since Iraq, 2003, when I was a 23-year-old marching against that war. When Bush was thinking about Iran, I was saying.
Are you afraid of Israel?
Am I afraid of?
Are you afraid of Israel?
What do you mean?
Are you afraid of Israel's aspirations?
Oh, yeah. But aspirations are different, right? Can they pull it off? I agreed with you that just because they have this messianic vision doesn't mean they're going to win.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree with that.
To me, it's like, okay.
No, they didn't win in Gaza.
Bro,
Patrick, I said in 2023, that this whole plan, when people were like yourself and others were saying Israel has a right to self-defense, destroy Hamas, I said, you can't. There is no military solution to your problem.
Yeah, so you know what it is for me? Don't talk to Mehdi, because Mehdi's going to do this. No, I want to talk to Mehdi. No, I'm telling you, be careful. No, I want to talk to Mehdi. Oh, don't talk to Bibi because I want to talk to him. I wish you had an hour and a half to talk. No, don't talk to Nick. No, don't talk to this guy. I want to talk to him. I don't sit there and see that, my God, everything, they're so powerful. They're going to control America. They do this, they do that. I mean, you're kind of giving them too much credit.
I mean, you're mixing different things together, though. One thing is militarily, can they win on battlefields? No, not always. Hezbollah defeated them in 2000, famously. That was the first time they were defeated by an Arab force on a battlefield when they withdrew from southern Lebanon. They're back now. We were told Hezbollah was done. Do you remember a couple years ago? Oh, the pages and the assassination of Nasrallah. They're done. It was a paper tiger. They just killed 30 Israeli soldiers in the last few weeks, right? They've injured hundreds more. Who knows what the real numbers are? So clearly they're not done for. Hamas is still around. And the Iranians still have, 70% of their missile stock, according to US intelligence. So the idea that these were all paper tigers was bullshit. That's a different argument. I'm not a military expert. I'm not going to sit here and adjudicate, who has the strength in the field. Politically, though, in this country, does Israel still have power? Sure. They still have politicians who support them. They still have lobby groups that advocate on their behalf.
So does China. So does Qatar.
No, not on the level of Israel. Come on.
Oh, okay, let me ask you a question.
Go on.
If you had $5 billion to win over influence in people in America politically and inject your way of thinking, would you put that money to buy over congressmen and senators, or would you put that money into winning over kids? Where would you put your money?
Both.
No.
Either or.
Okay, then do diversify. Diversify. Seriously, use it as a mutual fund. You got $5 billion. How much you put in one? How much you put in the other one? Honestly.
I don't know. I
want you to think about it.
50-50. I think they're both important.
You think
you talk about when you say young people, you mean like TikTok?
Universities. I'm talking about universities, TikTok, social. Give money to universities, give money to places to get the kids' influence. Where would you put the money in?
But let me take your example, take it a step further. Okay, let's say I put it all in students. I win over young people. That's already happened. Have you seen the polling? The young people hate Israel.
I know.
But does it translate into policy? No, because the Congress still controls the purse strings. So I'll give you one example. 8% of Democrats support Israel's war in Gaza. 8%, according to a poll last year. In Congress, it's the other way around. It's like 80% of Democrats support Israel, only 8 or 10% are voting against weapons or genocide. I'm ballpark figures here. So what's the disconnect? The disconnect is we have a Congress that doesn't represent the public on either side of the divide. I don't think the Republican Party fully represents its base, but more so, Democratic Party certainly doesn't represent its base on Israel, the leadership. You look at these primaries, we're sitting on a day where there's going to be a bunch of primaries. So my big point here is, yes, it's great that young people have been won over. It's great that everyone under the age of 50 in the United States of America, whether Republican or Democrat, does not want more weapons going to Israel. That's the latest polling. Under the age of 50, everyone.
That makes sense to me.
Right? But Congress does. So the disconnect, this is why we have such a crisis of democracy. This is why Israel matters so much in our political system. It's not just a foreign policy issue. It's an issue of our democracy where we have members of Congress and a president who does not follow American will, does not follow the will of the voters. He didn't win a landslide. Trump lied his ass off.
What do you mean she could have won? She lost every single state, 7 states.
Have you looked at the numbers? In the 3 key swings.
She helped more counties become Republican in America.
Have you looked at the numbers? If 115,000 people had voted differently, she would be president. That's what it came down to in our ludicrous system. She lost by 1.5 percentage points. One of the narrowest. He got one of the narrowest wins in modern American history. You know that, right? I know he lies, and people like you give him credit. He lies. He says, I won a landslide. He won one of the worst. You can pull it up, Rob. I wrote a piece for The Guardian with all the receipts.
Every county became more Republican in America.
Pull up my piece.
Every
Guardian,
county
2024 Mehdi landslide. Type it out.
Can you please send this chart to this man here?
Pull it up.
He's the Muslim community is becoming more Republican,
Patrick,
which is great.
Patrick, will you give me permission to read from your screen?
Go for it.
Can we scroll down?
Yes.
This is a great moment for me, taking over your show. Scroll down. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Stop. So the former president's margin of victory over Harris is a minuscule 1.6 percentage point. Actually, it's 1.5. It went down after that. Smaller than that of every winning president since 1888, other than JFK and Richard Nixon. In fact, in the 55 presidential elections in which the popular vote winner became president, listen to this. Oh, your viewers are getting some good facts today. 49 of those 55 elections were won with a margin bigger than Donald Trump's in 2024. I hope the president is watching your show. I know he's a friend of yours. He's coming on the show.
Can you do me a favor?
Donald Trump, you lost.
Can you show
you won with a
how many
49th
counties?
Who gives a fuck about counties?
Won.
I'm showing you the margin of victory.
Dude, Mehdi.
He won by 1.5. You can raise your voice, but I've already done my receipts.
If there's anybody that has no room to say anything, look at this here.
My receipts are up.
Look at this here.
Patrick,
run away.
I love this
here.
You know, land doesn't vote.
He converted Muslims into Republicans.
Patrick, you know, land doesn't vote. I love these maps. That's land.
You showed us that.
Land doesn't vote.
Dude,
I gave you the numbers.
Muslims voted for him.
Still more for the Democrats.
No. Muslims went from 24% for Trump in 2020 to 31%.
Patrick, I'm not on the right.
He's winning your people over.
Patrick, and it kills me. Patrick, I'm not on the right. I'm not an election denier. Donald Trump won, but he didn't win 50% of the vote. You know, people say he won the popular vote. You know, he didn't win a majority of the votes. He's run in 3 elections.
I know that, but
you know, he's run 3 elections.
You know who's the last Republican that has?
George W. Bush.
Yeah, it's the last one that did it. Yeah. That's not like oh my God, he didn't win the majority. You know.
But he hasn't. But he brags and says he does. Yeah, but he's never won a majority of the vote. Today he's polling in the 30s. He's lost, by the way, he's lost all that support from Latinos, young people and Muslims. Yeah. You accept that, right? That coalition he put.
Let's start with the core disagreement in the first half, because it's a genuinely interesting test of consistency. Patrick's argument was that historical expansion, whether it's business, market share, or historical territorial expansion, justifies similar action today. Mehdi's pushback was precise. Business competition and international military conquest aren't comparable categories because one operates within a shared legal and voluntary framework and the other involves force against people who never consented to be conquered. That's not just rhetorical, it's a real distinction, since consent and legality are exactly what separate expansion through voluntary exchange from expansion through military force. The reference to the Nuremberg tribal principle, which did in fact define wars of aggression as the supreme international crime because they contain within themselves all the accumulated evils of the whole, is a real, documented piece of post-World War II international law. And it's worth checking that framing directly if you want the precise legal history behind it. Where I think the debate is at its most interesting is the closing line about not going abroad in search of monsters to slay, which does trace back to John Quincy Adams' 1821 address, and it represents one of the oldest, most enduring tensions in American foreign policy thought, whether a powerful nation should act purely on strategic interests or whether it should constrain itself with stated principles even when it has the power not to. That's a real, unresolved debate that shows up across generations of American foreign policy, not unique to this administration or this conversation. And it's worth taking seriously as a genuine philosophical fork rather than a rhetorical gotcha either way. Now, to the second half on the Netanyahu relationship. The framing that Trump has effectively given the Israeli government broad latitude in Gaza and Lebanon is Mehdi's characterization and interpretation of specific reported statements and reported troop control percentages in Gaza, and those figures, the territorial control claims specifically, are worth verifying against current independent reporting given how quickly ground conditions in an active conflict can shift. On the polling data cited near the end, specific figures like 80% of Israelis supporting removal of Palestinians from Gaza and a cited Penn State poll about attitudes toward captured towns. Those are exactly the kind of specific, striking numbers that deserve direct verification against the original survey data and methodology before being treated as settled. Given how much public opinion polling on this exact topic varies by pollster, framing of the question, and timing, if accurate, they're genuinely significant data points about public sentiment. If the methodology or sourcing doesn't hold up under scrutiny, that matters too. I'd encourage checking the original polling organizations directly rather than taking any single commentator's citation, including this one, at face value. Here's what I'd leave you with. The might makes right framing gets tested hardest not when you apply it to your adversaries, but when you're asked whether you'd accept the same standard being applied to you, or by other actors you don't happen to like. That symmetry test is really the through line of the entire first half of this debate, and it's worth applying to any argument about power and legitimacy in international relations, regardless of which country or which conflict is under discussion. So tell me, do you think historical precedent for territorial expansion is ever a legitimate justification for present-day action, or does citing "this is how nations have always behaved" just excuse whatever a powerful actor wants to do next? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more of these breakdowns that dig into the philosophical core of a debate, get subscribed, because that's exactly what this channel is here for.